For exclusive podcasts and more, sign up at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
This week's Law & Order Marathon winner is April Trevelyan. I should practice before I go. This week's Law & Order Marathon winner is April Trevelyan of Orlando, Florida. April will get a marathon decal showing she watched 26.2 hours of her favorite crime show. To be next week's winner, sign up at lawandorderpodcast.com.
I'm Kevin Flynn with Rebecca Lavoie and Briley O'Connor, and these are their stories.
You think you know who did it, but you don't know who did it. Law and order, law and order, law and order. It's no ordinary police procedural, baby. It's the FNOG of police procedurals, baby. Law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order. These are their stories, these are their stories.
Welcome to These Are Their Stories, the podcast about network TV's most enduring crime franchise and the real-life cases that inspired their shows. I'm Kevin Flynn. Each podcast will break down an episode from either Criminal Intent, SVU, or Original Recipe. And today we're looking at SVU, Season 15, Episode 6, October Surprise.
All right, this clown could be mayor. He opened himself up to blackmail, right? Eddie had cash. Where'd he get it from? This could just be the tip of the iceberg.
I think we saw more than just the tip.
Joining me to do just that is true crime author and the host of Crime Writers On and Netflix's You Can't Make This Up podcasts, Rebecca Lavoie. Hello, Rebecca.
Hola.
Hola, because we have so much Spanish in this episode.
Random Spanish.
Muy bueno. All right.
Is this about what Puerto Ricans do?
And rounding out our panel is our special guest, the winner of the These Are Your Stories contest.
Yay!
From Minneapolis, Minnesota, Briley O'Connor. Hello, Briley.
Hello. I'm so excited.
We had over 200 entries.
Which is unbelievable.
We read them all.
No pressure. Jesus.
Yeah, we had at least 2 dozen that would have been great guests, but we picked Briley. So how did you celebrate your win?
I squeed a lot and then texted a bunch of people who didn't care nearly as much as I did.
So, Briley, tell us about yourself.
Well, I am a mom. I have a 6-year-old son. He just turned 6. And I work at Target. Although none of the opinions or terrible language I use here reflect on Target in any way. No one tell them. So I work in the tech field, and I do improv comedy for fun, except not during a pandemic. So I'm an artist that's terribly lonely and in need of attention. Really.
Unbelievable. Yeah. That's very interesting. I actually think the working at Target part in a tech job might be the most interesting part.
I love my job. I get to do a lot of interesting things. I help make the app and website accessible for people with disabilities. So I get to work with a lot of interesting people. Sometimes I get to wave a big stick and tell people they have to do what I tell them, and that brings me great joy.
Yes.
Oh, so you're not on the floor with a red shirt?
No, she works for corporate.
Oh, good. That's the place to be.
Yeah, no.
Didn't you get the clue from the whole Minneapolis thing?
They have Target stores in Minneapolis.
We do. We have many.
Yeah.
But no, I work at the HQ, although right now HQ is my living room. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked a lot on the show about the 30-year lifespan of Law and Order and the way it's handled things like criminal justice and race. But in your entry, you brought up another concern that we really haven't talked about.
I mean, we could do a whole series on these. Yeah. So I am a blind person. And so I always pay attention to how people with disabilities are represented in media. Spoiler alert, it's bad.
Yeah. Real bad.
In case you didn't know. But one of the most interesting things about Law and Order in particular is that people with disabilities are never or super rarely. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say never, although now someone on the internet is going to find me and show me the one episode out of 22 seasons. So come at me, Twitter, where the actors actually have a disability.
There's one. There's only one.
Maybe one.
Marlee
probably
Matlin
a deaf person,
a
right?
lawyer. Yes, it's Marlee Matlin. Yep, she played a lawyer.
Yeah. So Deacon's eye patch doesn't check that box? No.
Yeah, another thing too is it's always about their disability. It's never just a person with a disability who's just a regular person doing a thing.
Right.
It's always like
and it's actually rarely are never judges or lawyers. It's always a criminal or a homeless person or somebody that's really sad.
Yeah, or like in this recent season of SVU, a victim.
A horrible, like the situation victim. Yeah, it's real bad.
It's always stuff like that. It's never shows people in positions of power. We've made some progress on representation in regards to LGBTQ, although that's not great either. And race, you know, having to dialogue about that. But the interesting thing about SVU is they don't even fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
Like they don't ever even address it. So like there's no Olivia outrage over like people using the words wheelchair bound, which is gross, by the way. Don't do that.
Right.
You know.
I'm really curious, with your visual impairment, how do you interact with Law and Order?
That's a good question. So I've been watching Law and Order since I was probably 10, which we can question my mother's decision-making ability on that.
Same.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because if you watch older episodes of Original Recipe, you don't really need to see it to follow it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of like walking around and folding clothes. Or buying random corn dogs and moving around for no reason, but lots of yakety yakking. Not a whole lot of visual storytelling. Well, somewhere around, I think actually probably Criminal Intent started some of this. If I think about this now, the cold opens with no talking and just like montage over music sort of situation. Right. So some of that, it's like, I don't know what's going on. What's happening? And a lot of it you can pick up later from context clues, but there's actually a thing called audio description.
Right.
You can get it on the network. So it used to be on Netflix. All of Law and Order SVU used to be on Netflix, and they actually had the audio description track with it, which was great, especially for like the later seasons, these past probably 10 seasons or so. They have a lot of those visual details where if they can't pick it up from context clues, one episode that I think of is, what was the Halloween one with the creepy girls? You remember that one?
No.
Where, like, they went into the woods, they had like the creepy
Slenderman one.
Yes. Yeah. Well, at the end of that episode, they get in the elevator and the girls lock pinkies and like smile at each other. And they're like, yeah, what up, ho? We got away with it. But I would never know that without the audio description.
Right.
You know,
so does the audio description say they're locking pinkies and looking at each other and they're like, yeah, I got away with it?
But now they took it off Netflix. And so now Nowhere has it streamable with the audio description, which is super annoying. But another fun fact, only 1% of blind people are totally blind. I can do like the number where I hold my phone up close to my eyeballs and look at Olivia Benson's hair for the season.
Could you tell, for instance, that Olivia Benson was way too tan in this episode for no reason?
So much bronzer. I was like, who did that to her?
I'm so glad that you were able to tell that as well.
Briley, of all the franchises, which two cops are your favorite detective team?
Favorite Law and Order detective team.
This is so hard. I would say probably Finn and Rollins.
Nice.
If I
Good
had
choice.
to choose, because she has daddy issues and he desperately needs to reparent somebody. So he fucked it up the first time so bad.
Yep.
Briley, your answer is incorrect because you said in your entry.
What did I say? I have no idea what I said.
This is what you said. If I'm feeling exceptionally lonely, I'm all about noshing on some man candy known as Benjamin Bratt.
That is true. Yes. And I figured out too, because I actually don't hate Amaro.
Oh my God.
Although I hated him in this episode. I know. I forgot how much of a dick he was. This episode, he's very much a dick, but he is like Curtis 2.0. Really.
Yes.
This is what he is. But I like Curtis. He was pretty, and I don't know. Benjamin Bratt was cute. Yeah.
And who's your favorite prosecutorial team?
Favorite Law and Order District Attorney Prosecutorial Team.
I really love Cutter and Esparza. What's her last name?
Yeah.
Rubirosa. Yeah. I like them. I really liked Cutter. I thought they were both very good actors. And I don't think they got, especially the last 2 seasons, they really dug in. I thought they were very good. I don't think, I wish they'd had another season too to kind of get into that, because he so wanted to tap that. And she was like, nah.
Yeah. Sexual harassment in the office.
Listen.
Again, I'm going to call you out as being wrong on your answer.
What did I say again?
You said,
know. I love all of them. You made me choose. Choices are hard.
You said Barba needs no teammate except me.
No, but you said the question is team. The question is team. And so if I had to pick a team, if I have to pick my favorite prosecutor of all times, it is Barba and his beautiful eyes. I love him and how he gets so angry and will do anything for the win, like choke himself with a belt in public.
All right, now let's take a look at the first half of this episode. SVU Season 15, Episode 6, October Surprise. Note on some streaming services, this is listed as Episode 5 because of that two-part season opener. So don't at me, at Wolf.
On our streaming service, it was labeled Episode 5, just FYI.
Right. But at Peacock, it's Episode 6, and anyway.
Hulu, it's 5.
Yeah, I know. That's what I just said, Rebecca. For fuck's sake.
You should listen when you talk. It's supposed
Never. Never.
It's like, wah, wah, wah,
All right.
wah.
I'm shutting off her microphone for this. Well, we see the mayoral frontrunner campaigning around New York City in front of adoring crowds. And we see his body man, Eddie Garcia, step away, later to be found struggling with a blonde foot model over a pair of scissors. Lindsay Anderson tells SVU that she was raped. That's when Barba gets a visit from his oldest friend, mayoral candidate Alex Muñoz.
Can I talk to you about something? Sure, anything, Alex. It's about Eddie. Eddie Garcia from the projects. He got into a stupid fight with a girl. She says he tried to rape her. SVU picked him up last night. We gotta take care of him.
Eddie claims Lindsay attacked him, and he was there to give her $2,000 for an abortion. Barba tells Liv that back in the day, he, Alex, and Eddie were Los Tres Mosqueteros. And maybe she should take another look at that. The detectives find out Lindsay had been shaking down rich men that she met online. But why go after a civil servant like Eddie? Amaro thinks he's taken the fall for his powerful friend, candidate Muñoz. The politician denies a relationship. Lindsay suddenly takes a job as a foot model in Israel. All arranged by Muñoz's sleazy spin doctor. Barba refuses to believe his old pal and future mayor would do this. That's when Rollins lays the honey trap, exchanging pictures with Muñoz, whose online name is Enrique Trouble. And that's when he says, say hello to my little friend.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I'm not the mayor, but okay, I'll cut this ribbon.
The time has come to provide affordable housing for the hardworking people of the city. The time has come.
Yeah. I mean, we saw all of it, not just the tip, right?
Oh, come on now. Let's get to the beginning now. Let's start at the beginning.
Okay. So many feelings. So his opening speech, the time has come for affordable housing. The time has come, the walrus said, to pay more for your speechwriter. That's all I could think of when I heard that. I was like, that's all you got? You know? And then he's like, but my wife. And she totally should have run instead.
Yeah, so immediately after Eddie's arrested for assaulting a foot model, which I just can't get over, Muñoz is somehow outside Barba's office to put the screws to him.
Yes, looking for Bustelo coffee, which, by the way, is not actually authentic. It's actually owned by the Smucker's brand now at this point.
Okay.
So you should not feel bad about getting the Starbucks, Alex. You should feel fine about it because your Bustelo coffee is owned by Smucker's. By the way, I looked that up afterwards.
But Briley, how does this happen? He was arrested 5 minutes ago. They don't give you your first phone call from the crime scene.
I mean, you know what? Actually, that's a really interesting point that I didn't even think of. I'm so used to unreasonable timeline situations here that, nobody points that out. Somehow Amaro intuits the other piece and puts them all together, but this is a piece he missed. So I don't know. I just appreciated the scissors. Does anybody have scissors sharp enough in their house to do that?
Where you could stab them, use them as a weapon?
Those Cutco. That was a good investment. That was
Excellent.
a good investment.
I have a theory about how he was able to show up just on time.
How's that?
Because Eddie says he's very good with timing.
I don't know how I could be mom, because I'm good with the timing thing. And since marriage, and I only screwed up one time. And
I mean, he's talking about pulling out.
Oh, it's right. I forgot that. I'm being my
He's
wife.
a cum wizard. That's what he is.
Now you see it. Now you don't. I'm going to make this disappear. And reappear. And disappear and reappear.
Except he doesn't want to make the baby disappear.
Yeah. Well, because she lies about being raped and being pregnant and that vape is just water. So I don't know why Amaro's mad, because he thinks this of every victim.
Oh, no, Amaro is fine. I mean, Amaro's pissed at Barba the whole time.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that.
Like, he's super pissed at, the whole thing is about him, for whatever reason, being pissed at Barba, right?
I love how Olivia's all, believe the women, except this one, because Barba, And isn't she still with Grumpy Pants?
Tucker?
No, she's with Cassidy.
Oh, that's right, because it's post-Lewis.
Yeah.
With the part 2 of Lewis episode. That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, she's with Lewis and she's going to her knockoff Richard Chamberlain therapist like 18 times a week.
You mean Mr. Noodle?
Mr. Noodle.
Yes,
the guy that gives her a necklace, which is very inappropriate, but that's
so
a whole
inappropriate.
other. That's a whole other discussion. So that's a gap for me. It's like, so you don't believe her, although she's not very believable. I loved Amaro's dig at her apartment situation.
Now, I don't know if the officers told you last night, but you don't need to preserve the crime scene.
It always kind of looks like this.
Yeah. And also, why would Liv tell her to put out her cigarette in her own house? It's her own house. Isn't she allowed to smoke there?
It is New York and they are the police.
Liv is feeling herself. Clearly with the tan, she's like, I can walk around with a tan like this.
Yes.
So I can do what I want. Tell people to not smoke in their own homes. Although, when Barba's hanging out with Benson, and he's like, but no, this couldn't be a thing. He's like, Eddie's no genius, but he's a good guy. And I'm like, that is right up with their congrats. You got into Hudson.
We are Hudson, where the bad guys go to school.
Boom. Queued up the drop. I love it. Okay, we have a couple of Hey, It's That guys.
Hey, it's that guy.
So I guess, Briley, this is the hey, we're friends now, so maybe this is funny, but it's still probably awkward if I ask you if you recognize this actor.
Oh, well, I know that before they were famous. But
Nice. Wow, perfect pitch and everything.
Let me go through them for you, okay?
Yeah.
Who is playing state senator and mayoral candidate Alex Muñoz? Anyone know?
No.
A guy.
I'm a happily married man. I never even met this woman. You sure about that? On the grave of mi abuelita. I've never seen her, never spoken to her. What does she say?
That's Vincent Laresca. He was Carlos Espada on the TV show Shades of Blue, along with Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, that thing that was on for like 4 minutes?
Yeah, 3 seasons.
What?
Yeah,
What?
3 seasons.
Who
yeah,
watched
it? Was on ABC
it?
for 3 seasons.
Maybe my grandma.
Not the two of you guys, apparently.
No.
Who was she dating when that was on?
A-Rod.
No, was she?
You're so upset about A-Rod, aren't you?
Oh my God. Her breakup with A-Rod, listen, it's probably his fault, but I'm just really pissed about it. Really pissed about it.
Just feelings.
I don't know if I'm more pissed about their breakup or Christina Anstead's breakup with her second husband on Flip or Flop. I'm just saying it's very upsetting to me.
Oh, my heart is still hurting over that. I can't discuss it. I can't.
I'm going to jump in and save my podcast
All
again.
right.
All right? How about the actor who's playing Body Man and Bag Man, Eddie Garcia?
You're my brother, Rafi. I would never have learned English if it wasn't for you. We're even, right?
That is super. Hey, it's that guy, Kirk Acevedo. He was in Oz. And who else was in Oz?
Chris Maloney.
Chris Maloney was in Oz,
Yeah,
but I never watched Oz.
Who else?
J.K. Simmons.
Who is?
Skoda.
Skoda.
Yes. So he has had 18 Law & Order appearances. He played Hector Salazar. No, not the Hector Salazar from Sons of Anarchy or the Hector Salazar from 24. He played the Hector Salazar who replaced Lenny Briscoe after his death on the short-lived Law & Order trial by jury.
Huh.
Yeah, that actually wasn't a bad show. But I guess since Lenny died, it was kind of like, well, what's the point?
What is the point exactly?
Why bother?
Can I just say one thing about the character Eddie?
Yeah.
When he tells Barba, I never would have learned English without you, I'm like, your English is fine.
It's fine.
Sometimes your accent is suspiciously not as thick as it was before.
That's right. Kirk was in that X-Files ripoff show Fringe. He played Charlie Francis and alternate Charlie Francis.
Listen, that show starred Pacey from Dawson's Creek. Do not shit on it.
Just saying.
It also had the lady who's in Mindhunter in it. That's what that show was. It was Pacey and the lady from Mindhunter.
Pacey. Oh, Pacey. My childhood.
We talk about our Hey, It's That Girl.
Yes.
Hey, it's that girl.
Who is the actress playing Lindsay Anderson?
One of my favorites. That's Annalee Ashford from Masters of Sex.
I was trying to break it off. But he said no one leaves him. He said he has friends from prison who could hurt me.
Yes.
And she's been in tons of things lately. She's really having a moment.
Right now, she's part of that rotating ensemble cast in American Crime Story. And she also plays Gina in the CBS comedy Be Positive, a sitcom about a woman who is going to donate her kidney to a complete stranger. So it has multi-season potential.
She was also an Unbelievable, by the way.
Yeah.
She was great in that.
Oh, she's a Tony Award-winning actress.
So she's good in other things?
Yeah.
Oh,
she's great.
yeah.
Because she was not good in this. She was not good in this. This was not her finest moment.
I think in the beginning she was trying to play bad at bad acting, right? She was, but yeah, no, she's wonderful. She's a big Broadway actress. She was in, Wicked, and she was in Frozen, the cartoon, and.
Okay, I like her now if she was in Wicked.
I feel like she and Betty Gilpin sort of like came up together and like had her having a moment at the same time.
Yeah, well, they were both
on Masters of Sex, and like they're both like having their. It's just so wonderful because they're just both such great actresses.
Right. And before I get shit from the Broadway community, Tony Award winner Karen Olivio is playing Yelena Muñoz, the candidate's wife.
Bobby, don't ruin his chances.
Oh, she is beautiful, and yes, she is smarter than her husband.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And better looking.
The Latina Hillary Clinton. She was last seen appearing across from Raul Esparza before the pandemic in the show Chess. I get my kicks above the waistline, sunshine.
Wait, like a TV show or the Broadway show?
No, Broadway show. It was at the Kennedy Center.
I love Chess.
Like the actual show?
The
Chess?
actual Broadway musical Chess.
The Andrew Lloyd Webber musical Chess?
Yeah.
How many times do I have to say it?
I love that musical.
Chess.
I love that musical. It's
a
so
good
weird
musical.
and wonky. And,
so weird.
And like,
there was a good duet.
I know him so well.
Oh, yes. Yes. Love that.
We do have some repeat offenders.
Repeat offender.
Playing Reverend Curtis Scott is 2021 double Oscar nominee Leslie Odom Jr.
This is a candidate who can actually save our schools, rebuild our neighborhoods, and you choose to sacrifice all of that because of a zipper problem.
We talked about him in Amaro's 180, that episode that we did. Also returning as spin doctor and secret child pornographer Hank Abram.
Is this something I should call the DA about? Because I'm handling his campaign as well.
Is resting anus face Josh Pace. He's been in several of our episodes.
Oh, I'm going to incorporate that into my daily vocabulary.
Can you tell me who's playing Channel 8 news anchor Lester Holt?
You mean the demoted Lester Holt?
It's Channel 8.
Looks so familiar. It might be Lester Holt.
With only 12 days left until New York's mayoral election, the latest polls show State Senator Alejandro Muñoz still holding on to his lead.
He got a hell of a demotion. A hell of a demotion.
Yeah. There's a couple of actual reporters in this season. We have like Hoda Kotb comes on and whatnot. But Errol Lewis and Teresa Woods are also local journalists who made that. One more here. Who is playing Eddie's lawyer?
Good luck getting them to testify. We done here?
Eddie's lawyer? I don't know.
Okay, that's Jason Cerboni. He was Jackie Aprile Jr. on The Sopranos, but you will recognize him, I think, as Luca from the video for the Suzanne Vega song Luca.
Shut up.
Aw, Suzanne.
Yeah.
He lives on the second floor.
He does. It's upstairs from you, right?
I don't think I've seen him before.
Man, that is the happiest song about child abuse ever to be the hit number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Listen, don't make no kind of trouble or no kind of fight, Kevin. Don't do it.
Oh,
Just
God.
don't ask me what it was.
So when the sex crimes police interview Hank Abram about whether a political candidate is engaging in a public corruption scheme, he verbalizes the thing that we've all thought for 20 years.
And may I ask how that's SVU's concern? Because this seems like an item for page 6. Not a matter for an elite detective unit.
This doesn't seem like a job for an elite unit.
No.
That's right.
This isn't like a job for them at all.
No, it never is.
They're investigating this one. It's clear that there's it's not clear there's been any crime committed,
Yeah.
yet they're still investigating.
Yeah.
And then when they actually do find the crime, which is like an FEC issue, not like an SVU issue,
Right.
they just keep investigating. They keep investigating until they find an actual sex crime, which, by the way, is not how it's supposed to go.
Right. Briley, not everything is especially heinous.
No, but Abraham's face is especially heinous. That is a low blow, but I feel it's justified. Was it after this that it was like child porn, or was that
Yes,
before this?
He's playing the same character.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same guy. But
Later it comes on, yeah.
Can I ask a question about that now? Because
What?
I was going to. Does this mean Alex is actually elected mayor? Because
No. I don't know.
he becomes the press person.
For the police department,
Yes,
not the mayor's office.
But how would he have gotten that job?
I don't know. He's got a lot of juice. He's giving porn stars jobs on the gaming commission. I mean, of course he's going to get a job.
he's sending foot models to Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
To be political consultants.
Jeez. Going to the Holy Land to show my piggies.
Listen,
That's not kosher.
open toe shoes all year. Swear it's at size 6,
That's
you know.
right. That's where the
Size
sandals
6.
come from. Yes.
Tap. I love that guy.
So Rollins lays a honey trap,
Yes.
which is like the dumbest fucking thing they put together. She first goes to the campaign website to say,
When you talked about the pension system, I got so excited.
and then she somehow knows to find Enrique Trouble on the pleasurewithoutconscience.com
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
And so the dirty picture that she sends, it's of her slightly pulling her blouse to the side to show just a tiny bit of her black lacy
It's
bra.
basically like she's leaning over to wash the dishes, and that's what you
Yeah,
would see.
yeah. Yeah. By the
It's
way,
not sexy.
if you're wearing a black bra with a white blouse,
No.
everyone can see it already. So I don't know what the point is.
But she did it on purpose.
She did.
Enrique Trouble. I was
Yeah.
like, let's just put that one on the nose.
Yeah.
It's like, they're in the writer's room. Like, Julio Mayhem.
It's literally
Julio
like
Mayhem.
Crazy eyes.
Latin. It's like Latin synonyms, right? Name and synonyms.
Rico Suave. Oh, shit.
Louis Loco.
Maybe Carlos. Nope.
I do like though how Rollins like turns to Finn after sharing the photo with the whole class and saying,
I sent in this selfie. Thank you.
Well, seeing as they all get so scandalized by cock pictures, I don't really.
Yes.
They all are like,
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's the full Muñoz right there.
Oh, no.
And this guy wants to be the next mayor of New York.
Literally their job to look at dick
like,
pics.
don't you do this all the time? Like, why are we so scandalized?
why are they scared of a picture of a dick? It's like they were watching Dr. Pimple Popper. And they went, whoa.
Although, when you talk about the pension system, I get so excited. I'm like, there is no way you landed some 15-year-old ass. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Isn't that what they thought they were going to get? Is a dick pic?
I think
that's
that
the whole thing they were fishing for, right?
That's the whole point.
When they saw it, they were so disappointed.
Yes.
And upset.
They're like, oh, I can't watch anymore.
It's literally your job.
So here's how the photos come, all right? He does the bare chest, and then it's a photo of his boxers with an erection.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how NBC ensured that would happen, but let's just go with it.
I didn't see an
And
erection. I just saw a wiener inside of boxers.
Yes. Yeah.
It was the audio description said a bulge. I will have
Bulge,
you
all
know.
right, there you go.
That was the term they chose for that.
And then it goes to the dick pic. I'm kind of like, why that underwear shot in the middle? I mean, are you trying to build suspense?
Yes.
Of course you're going to show the Johnson.
Well, depending on how big it was, it's like, just set me up for disappointment.
It's a test. You
It's
know,
a
it's a test. It's like, if she'll tolerate this, then she'll definitely want this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The full Muñoz.
You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing I will never understand, right?
What?
Dicks are the least sexy thing in the entire world. I am a heterosexual woman. I love you very much.
Mm-hmm.
If I never had to actually look at it, that would be fine with me.
I don't know. I've definitely seen some ones that look like Shar-Pays. But there's some that hurt so bad. I feel like size in that event does help the aesthetic. Size does matter for attractiveness. Hi, Mom.
All right, now let's take a look at the second half of this episode. So the evidence against Muñoz is not rock hard, a little flaccid, perhaps. Barba meets with Muñoz so he can let it all out.
Rafael, how can you believe this? It's obviously Wall Street trying to keep me out of City Hall.
Alex, you need to be honest with me. And honest with yourself. You came to me to ask for help on Eddie's behalf.
Because he's my friend. And your friend.
You didn't ask our friend to go to Lindsay and hush her up about policy fees?
Speaking of being hard on someone, Amaro accuses Barba of protecting his old friend. And to make the point, he does it in Spanish. One of Enrique Trouble's sexting partners just got a job at the State Gaming Commission, and Finn recognizes her as a porn star because we all know he likes boobs.
Yeah.
She says that Muñoz gave her a monthly payment to keep her from talking to the press, and Eddie was the bag man. Barba convinces Eddie he needs to cooperate or face jail time. He tells Benson that he personally paid off all the girls on Muñoz's behalf except for a high school teacher in Yonkers. But guess what? She's no teacher. She's a sophomore who sent the candidate snapshots.
Dios mío.
Sacre bleu. With the photos of all his cyber sex partners, Barba confronts Muñoz at a fundraiser. The candidate accuses of his old friend of betraying him and says ever since he got that scholarship to Harvard, Barba's changed, and everyone will blame him if he loses the election. That morning, the mayoral candidate is arraigned for witness tampering and child pornography and released on bail, with the election only 6 days away. Okay, so in the stopped clock twice a day category, Amaro is the one who not only is going after the candidate, but he's going after Barba too.
You're afraid to go after Muñoz because while he stayed in the hood, in el barrio, and played man of the people, you went off to Harvard and pretended you were one of the gringuitos.
I know where I come from.
Yeah, so does Muñoz. And he's playing you, mi socio, making you feel like a sellout, un arrepentido.
Thank you so much for the bodega psychoanalysis, detective. Compay?
He's 100% right. He's 100% right that Barba should not be interfering in this case.
There is so much bullshit happening here. The first piece of bullshit is technically from earlier, but it's where Barba's like, but the DA wants me here for realsies. And I'm like, I don't think that would be real. I don't think that's the case. Would they have him do that? The answer is no. But I totally forgot about the whole cock-waving contest between Barba and Amaro. That was definitely a theme for this past, for a couple seasons.
I have a question. Do you think that's about Olivia? Because I think it's about Olivia a little bit.
Oh.
I don't think Amaro's in love with Olivia. I just think he wants to be her guy in a way that, he thinks Barba's trying to be her guy. Not her love interest, but her guy, her work husband,
Maybe. I think he's jealous of Barba. And because you see it at the end of this where he's like, I'm not going to apologize. But
there's a lot of Latino characters here in the show, and I think it's actually important for them to speak some Spanish to each other. I think that's realistic. In this case, though, it feels a little like Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, because they're literally speaking English, except for the random Spanish phrase injected in their non-accented English for no reason. It's just performative.
Just to remind you that they're Cubano.
It's performative, random Spanish. It's ridiculous, and it's.
But wouldn't you just be as critical if they just all spoke?
It's Hilaria Baldwin is what it is.
Oh.
It's like that time she was on the Today Show and pretended like she didn't know how to pronounce cucumber. It's like that, because it's not like they're speaking Spanish to each other and then speaking English for the benefit of the people who don't speak Spanish in the room. Yeah. They're speaking to each other in English, except for random moments.
Alejandro, por favor, I'm speaking to you as a friend.
And then also they're speaking to the English speakers with random Spanish phrases that they translate, which they could have just said in English to begin with. So they do it for no reason.
And that's the part that's weird. I don't hate the random Spanish as much, except when Amaro does it, because it comes off as like, I'm trying so hard. It seems a little more natural when Barba does it.
He's a better actor, though. Let's be
real.
real.
that helps. But when they do like the I spoke Spanish and now I'm going to tell you what it means in English because I am the speak and spell of America.
We need context clues.
I know. Help! I would have had no idea what tres. I don't even. Well, see, yeah. I mean, you know,
Los Tres Mosqueteros.
Los Tres Mosqueteros. The street. Jerome.
Look, I did put the closed captioning on to see if they would put like the phrases in, and it is like, you know, guapo and things like that. But then Amaro like rips off like this whole sentence at Barba, and it just sounds really mean. And then the caption just says, speaking Spanish.
Well, and I don't even know what he said because they didn't do like subtitles. I was like, listen, if you're gonna have him be like pull a dick move, at least have some subtitles for my white ass. That'd be helpful.
I have a question about a piece of dialogue that Barba says to Amaro. Thank you for the bodega psychoanalysis.
Oh, yeah.
What does that mean, A? What does that mean? Is he trying to say that, like, if someone speaks Spanish and has an opinion that, like, it should just be done in a bodega? Because that's fucking racist, Barba.
I don't think so, no. I think what it is, I find sometimes in marginalized communities, which I can't speak for any except mine, but there is sometimes, I found the piece about resentment towards Barba, which is why I don't think it's about Olivia at all. I think it's about Barba's success. I mean, you see it with Muñoz too.
It comes up later,
Amaro, it comes up later. And I think it's about this jealousy of you made it out, like you made it out and you were successful. And there is resentment in marginalized communities. I work at a corporate entity. My paycheck's nice. It don't hurt none. And I'm fine with that, but other people are sometimes not. And I understand that because, well, I don't know about hate, but it definitely I think there's sometimes some resentment of like, why does one person get that opportunity and I didn't, or I never will? And I'm like, listen, I was just lucky. Like, I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody, right? Because I'm not. But that's definitely a thing. Sometimes it's like justice is this finite commodity we all want to fight over. Like we all need a piece of that pie. And when somebody else gets it, instead of being able to celebrate somebody else's success, there is sometimes that bitterness that develops. So I did find that actually pretty relatable. So I think the bodega psychoanalysis piece is like, you're trying to like hood analyze me, right?
Got it.
Yeah. And speaking of the resentment, I did, appreciate later on that Muñoz started putting Barba down by accusing him of sort of being a sellout because he goes skiing in Europe and hangs out on people's yachts.
Does he?
He does. Don't you remember that scene?
He does.
Yeah.
Look at his suits.
No, there's this one scene where he comes into the squad room and he's dressed all preppy, and Liv says,
"Where were you, on your yacht?"
And he says,
"Not my yacht.
Not my yacht."
That's good continuity.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rare and happy.
So during this heartfelt scene with Eddie and Barba,
Bueno, we gotta talk.
You know, they fix his park since we were kids, right?
Yeah, they did.
I was terribly distracted by the ice cream truck in the background playing "Do Your Ears Hang Low" over and over again. I was like obsessively rewinding. So I was like, they didn't have any bed, like no music bed, until a little bit later in the scene, and it had the park and the whole thing. It was very touching, and they were like doing their best face acting. It was great. But I was like, "Do your ears hang low?"
I am never going to forgive you for this because there are 2 ice cream truck songs. One of them is the
Entertainer,
and the other one is "Do Your Ears Hang Low," which I have never before identified as being that song. And now I will never fucking unhear it. Thank you.
You know what? Welcome to my world where I obsess over these small things.
Hey, so if I know one thing, it's that Finn has an entire spank bank at his apartment.
Yes.
So he can just go up and say, hey, I recognize you from $1 Million a Night Baby.
And not C-SPAN.
I never
studied any acting.
That's funny, Amber. Because my partner here says you're real natural. And what is it, Finn?
This is my favorite. $1 Million a Night Baby.
I have the DVD right here, like it's 1996.
Okay, so Finn's apartment is painted entirely red. We know that.
And all the furniture's black leather.
Yes, everything's red, and he watches porn all the time. How the fuck did he get engaged to Jennifer Esposito?
I don't know. How does he keep that clean? My God.
I don't know, but that's all right.
Black's unforgiving.
I would be okay with that. I do love, though, how this Muñoz has this whole thing about, but Wall Street. And I'm like, Wall Street has a penis? Wall Street's got dick pics in their back pocket. They're just waiting.
Can we talk about the porn star working at that job?
Sure.
And the outfit she was wearing, which looked like what a porn star would wear in a porno film about corporate
working in
office.
government.
And the fact that even she shits on Albany for a second in this episode. It's Albany.
Yeah. I mean,
a lot of people who are here are even less qualified
sweetheart,
than I am.
you don't have to wear that porn suit. You're in the union now.
Porn
Take
suit?
the uniform off. The race is over.
She looked like a stepmom porn scene.
Yeah.
Like, I just got home from work, son. Do you want to give me a massage?
God.
No, I do not. No massage for you.
Here's the horrible thing, though. Muñoz is always getting these chicks, these great jobs. But Eddie, it's like, hey, how'd you like to work at Rikers? The actual fuck?
Now, stay at the prison. It'll be
How do you want to drive me around?
Eddie, my oldest friend, how would you like to be on shank duty? You know?
with some shitty scissors.
Yes.
Just in
How'd you like to
case.
work third shift?
Listen, he's ESL. We know. Maybe he was worried about his language skills.
Yes. Oh, God.
By the way, his English was fine.
It was just fine. Just fine. I could tell because I didn't have the subtitles on. And it said speaking English. You're right. Barbara keeps mentioning a couple of times that the DA wants him to stay on this case. And they rarely mention it. But, of course, the DA in this universe is Jack McCoy. So I keep wondering, like when Barba went to him and said that right before the election he wanted to prosecute the leading mayoral candidate, did McCoy go all full Adam Schiff and be like, just fucking kill me.
I'm constipated.
It's only 6 days to the election.
Make him a deal.
I'm apoplectic.
Can't believe my fucking life.
Let's sit here and eat Chinese food out of cartons with chopsticks.
It's a ghost of
I
Fred
love
Thompson.
that guy. He just looks all so uptight, like he's about to have a stroke.
Adam Schiff is like, his whole attitude is like when I walk in with a bunch of bags from TJ Maxx. Kevin's like,
gotta go through this again with this fucking shit. It's like Jesus, Mary, and Joseph and the wee donkey.
Oh God, I have to know though, because they did not describe this, and I must know, and you don't have to put this in. Did they show the cover of the DVD? Like,
yes. They sort of did. Yeah.
Was there like boxing gloves?
Yes, exactly. It was $1 Million Baby. Yeah. Yep.
By the way, did the makers of this fake porno in the writer's room not know what $1 Million Baby is actually about?
Yeah, they did. Why? What makes you think that?
Well, because it's the least sexy movie like ever fucking made.
No, but they're like, oh, this is a good title that we can porn on. Yeah.
God. It's like making a Schindler's List porn. It's just not sexy.
All right, let's take a look at the real-life story that inspired this episode. It's time for Rip from the Headlines.
What could it be?
You think you know who did it. You think you know who did it. But you don't know who did it. You don't know who did it. Rip from the headlines.
This episode takes cues from the sexting scandal around former New York Congressman Anthony Weiner. In May 2011, the married politician mistakenly tweeted a photo of a man bulge in his boxers. It was meant to be a private message for a college student in Seattle. At first, he denied he sent the picture, suggesting his account was hacked. After Breitbart posted a shirtless photo of Weiner and claimed to have more explicit pictures of him, Weiner admitted to inappropriate online behaviour. But the mea culpa didn't cool the controversy. Conservative media outlets found other women who said Weiner sent nude photos or engaged in phone sex. Polls showed a majority of constituents didn't think Weiner should resign, but bipartisan pressure on Capitol Hill led him to step down in June. In 2013, Weiner attempted a political comeback, running for mayor of New York. After jumping out as an early frontrunner, evidence emerged he'd still been sexting with young women after his congressional resignation. The revelations tanked his campaign, and he came in fifth. In August 2016, Weiner was accused of trading photos with a 15-year-old girl. That led to a separation from his wife, Huma Abedin, a top advisor to Hillary Clinton. The seizure of the family computer by the FBI had grave political consequences. In 2017, Anthony Weiner took a plea deal for transferring obscene material to a minor and was sentenced to 21 months. He was released from federal prison in February 2019.
So this episode came out in 2013?
Yeah.
Yes.
13, 14, something like that?
This is the underage girl was 2015?
This is the
2015 was the
scandal,
teen, yeah. The connection to the young kid was...
So he must have watched this and been like, that was a great idea. I should try it.
I'll probably get ROR. Yeah.
My wife will still stand by me.
Yeah.
It'll be
Remember that documentary they made about Weiner?
Yes.
And Huma Abedin is like Adam Schiff, that whole documentary.
Why are we still having these games in our house?
I love how everyone's like, no, it's fine. It's just a zipper problem. I mean, the Reverend says that in the episode.
Yes, he does.
Even though it's a young girl, which, so like, men can do this. It's a zipper problem. But when Kamala Harris is like, they're like, well, she had an affair 30 years ago, maybe haps. And everyone's like, off with her head.
She married a divorced man.
She cannot stand. Let the men wave their flags at the young ladies, and yet.
So I feel like if Anthony Weiner hadn't messaged a teenager to make this a more serious crime, I think we would just think of him as a cheap punchline, a guy who couldn't stop whacking it.
I don't think anybody cares about the teenager. I think he became a cheap punchline the moment we saw his dick inside those
and his
boxers.
name was Weiner, right? I mean,
he was Weiner.
It's pretty.
He was God's gift to the news.
Yes.
Glow News Week.
Let's stay in 2011 for 1 minute. Was this offense worthy of resignation?
Yes.
That first offense.
Next question.
You thought?
Yes.
Just because Republicans don't do it?
The tweet. The tweet.
Yes.
You think, okay.
No, I just think
the sex scandal where it's nobody but him.
Okay. At my job.
See, I used to think that you thought that he shouldn't.
No. So here's the thing. He knew what he was when that tweet went out. If it was honestly a mistake.
Yeah.
If that was something he meant to send his wife, but he accidentally tweeted it or whatever, who the fuck cares? But he knew that he was sexting a bunch of randos on the internet when he did that thing, and he lied about what it actually was.
Yeah.
The lie
yeah.
and the cover up, that's the offense that you should resign.
Well, and it's about power, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because I do think that we have way too many hangups about sex in general.
Absolutely.
So if a lot of people had a lot, like, we wouldn't be in this position if he could have been like, oh, I would like to have sex with multiple people. And everyone was like, that's cool. So it's okay. Except when you're a congressperson or you have power, I feel like when they're maybe 19, perhaps you should noodle on that for a minute before sending some dick pics.
Yep.
Yeah. Look, he resigned less than a month after the after the thing broke.
Yeah.
I mean, which is pretty quick. I mean, right now, we have a lingering case of a congressman who denies paying for sex with a teenager with Apple Pay. By the way, in order to use Apple Pay, you need to use your fucking face.
That's right. You can't fake that. You weren't hacked.
Fake that. Do you remember his texting name, Weiner's texting name?
Of course I do. Everybody does. Carlos Danger.
Carlos Danger.
That's why it was so poorly written in here. What was it? Enrique Trouble. Juan Disaster.
Julio Mayhem. I like that one. No one asked me.
Hey, so one of the women that Weiner had phone sex with was named Lisa Weiss, and Rebecca, you and I met her.
Really? Oh!
Yeah, let me tell the story.
That's right.
She was a blackjack dealer in Las Vegas, and we knew her as a big true crime fan, but we did not know her for this. It wasn't until like later on that it was like, wait a minute, she was that woman?
We met her before this whole thing, right?
No, we met her after this.
Oh, she
right?
didn't mention this.
Yeah, she was a true crime fan, and Briley, we were in Las Vegas with friends, and she invited us to Caesar's Palace to play blackjack at her table, and so we went there, we found her. She was very friendly, and we started playing, and the four of us at the table, we got crushed.
Yeah, we lost.
We lost fucking everything, and we went down hard. Nobody won a single hand. Even she was like, oh, I can't believe how cold this table is. And then we went on a 20-minute break, and we got the fuck out of there.
Yep.
It's that Weiner aura. It was just hanging around her.
So I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, so you asked me the question.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what Anthony Weiner does. I do care about the, like, very blatant lies. I really care about that. I'm sorry. That is where I draw the line. Do what you want to do, but don't lie about it. Lie to your wife. Don't lie to us. You're an elected official.
How can he not lie about it? Like, we don't have the type of society that
was it people... was it the governor of Virginia who ran away with his girlfriend for the weekend? And
to
then
Brazil or someplace
he
like
went
South
to South America to be with his girlfriend, and then he came back and he was like, "Yep, I'm in love. I did it." And I was like, "You know what? For you.
If it was them's my people, that's fine. It's my homeland. Hello. I hope that was. I'm proud."
Hey, that's gonna do it for us. We want to thank our guest, Briley O'Connor. Briley, where can our listeners follow you online?
So I'm on Twitter my username's Briley OC.
And congratulations on being our first These Are Your Stories winner.
Yay!
And maybe the last. Who knows? This was a lot of work.
200 entries.
I should have saved my responses because now it's like you tell lies. You don't remember anything you said, and it's like no, I don't. I don't.
You were
remember
better on paper, yes.
Better on paper. Probably true.
Rebecca Lavoie, how can our listeners follow you?
Twitter and Instagram at Reb Lavoie.
And you can track me on Twitter at Kevin P. Flynn. You also can tweet to us at Law & Order Pod or follow us on Instagram at These Are Their Stories Podcast. Our newsreader was Cy Frater. Our theme music was composed and performed by Uncanny Valleys. Line editing by Henry Lavoie. Content assistance from Travis Roy. Lily Flynn handles promotions. To get ad-free episodes of These Are Their Stories a week early, sign up for Stitcher Premium. All clips in this podcast were used in compliance with the U.S. Copyrights Act Fair Use Exemption for criticism and commentary. Special thanks to the elite squad of the Law & Order Wiki community for preserving the evidence. Go to lawandorderpodcast.com and sign up for our newsletter for a chance to be our next Law & Order Marathon winner. These Are Their Stories was recorded in the Yoga Loft above the Bodega in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi studio and is a production of Partners in Crime Media.
Partners in Crime Media.